And what a wonderful creative community you have here. I mean, this is amazing, truly. And I've seen lots of amazing things even beyond music here. And that brings me to what I want to talk about today. It takes a community to be a community. It's funny how that works. It's the only way it happens. It takes a community to be a community, and yet all too often I see in spiritual communities that we treat community as though it's a static noun, when in fact community is a state of beingness, and it only comes to life if we bring it to life through intention and interactivity. It must be action-oriented. To have community, we must actively create and be community. And that's what I see happening when I hear this music and when I see all the helping hands throughout the week coming here. And yet we could even be more. We could be more. We could grow deeper and more expansively as we grow in community. We make community then an action verb. Our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, wrote, "Life demands participation, sharing companionship, giving of our talents, expressing love, and developing creative associations." And I would say the one that the four of you have developed is quite creative, and thank you so much. You know, community truly must be intentional and conscious. And so let's take a look at some of the ways that community shows up and reveals its benefits to us. One, inclusivity. You know, we're more than a collective of like-minded people. We like to think that we're like-minded, but we're bigger than that. We're more than that. Inclusivity means that it does not exclude anyone, that all are welcome, including those who don't think exactly like we do. Oh, perish the thought. There are people who don't think like we do? Yes. The short answer is yes. Welcome them. They enrich our spirit too by expanding it. And we enrich theirs by expanding their spirit. Community is a place where individuals are supported in restoring their inherent wholeness. Because empowering healthy individuals creates healthy community. Two, a second benefit, a second thing that shows up in conscious, creative communities. Through collaboration and commitment, we create cohesive community, a community that sticks together. You know, people who remember being helped and healed in community must then be willing to share and welcome others to have the same experience that they did. Sometimes we forget, once we climb up that spiritual ladder, to reach back and say, "Here, let me give you a hand up." We're here to create space for people to recognize their talents and their gifts, and then to express them to the degree of commitment that feels appropriate for them at any given time. It's an opportunity to serve others, but to also be lovingly served and supported ourselves. We don't have to be on all the time. We get to sort of do the nestea plunge into other people's arms sometimes too. And three, we express service through shared leadership. Shared leadership. It's kind of like an improvisational jazz band. At one moment, Cara will take the lead on the piano, and at another moment, someone will take the lead on the guitar, and at another moment, someone will take the lead on the trumpet or the trombone or the saxophone. Different folks take the lead at different intervals. It's shared leadership. And for people and community to grow and to thrive, we must give of ourselves. And then the spirit of the whole community leads, not just one single individual or one small group of individuals leads. It's a way of taking ownership of this community that you created and that you continue to evolve and create. We set aside the traditional kinds of hierarchy in spiritual community so that decisions can come through collaboration and clarity and consensus and commitment, taking ownership of this community. And four, Community is a safe space for exploration. It's a living laboratory, if you will, where we can try things out. We can try new things and experience new things and gain new wisdom. We can be authentic and vulnerable. Yes, I said the V word, vulnerable. And we can be valued and appreciated for our differences. You know, if we were all alike, all but one of us would be redundant. Differences are good. It's a good thing. And it's good to value and appreciate one another for those differences. You know, if you all sang the same part, it would still be a nice song, but not as interesting as what you just did. This should be a safe place where we resolve disagreements through peaceful and loving, creative conflict. Conflict is a word that people say, oh, we don't like conflict. Conflict's great. It's a creative process. Conflict is a good thing. We get to see things that we wouldn't normally see because somebody brings something up that we didn't think about. It's a good thing. It's a good thing if we do it with peace and love and creativity. So every now and then it's good to check in and ask ourselves, how are we doing as spiritual community? Are we on track? Are we healthy? Have we got spirit here? Have we got spirit? And here's a thought. If we were being taken into a court of law, would there be enough evidence to convict us of being a conscious, intentional spiritual community? It's a good conviction, by the way. So let's look at the evidence. Is there evidence of love here? Are we interacting and regarding each other in positive, in high esteem? Are we being attentive and listening to one another? I mean, really being present and listening. You know, our lives are a communal call to love and empower one another. This is the place to do that. It doesn't happen all too often in some of the other places we spend our time, but we can create that here together. Herman Melville, you know, he's got a movie coming out. Herman Melville. What's it called? Mystery of the Sea or something. Anyway, it's a movie about Moby Dick. So Herman Melville, he's the Moby Dick guy. But he said something really powerful, and I want to share it with you. We cannot live only for ourselves. 1,000 fibers connect us with our fellow men, and among those fibers, as sympathetic threads, our actions run as causes, and they come back to us as effects. What we give out comes back to us. So let's be mindful what it is that we're giving out, because you're going to get it back. Second thing, is there evidence of joy here? Are we laughing, smiling, playing together? Are we immersed in a positive atmosphere and attitude here together? You know, because truly our combined energies and talents and ideas are greater than any one of us can have alone. And by the way, all one is only one L, or alone is only one L away from all one. So let's stick that extra L in there, because after all, we are one, right? We've got it in big letters right there. We're here to serve one another, because truly what we give to another, we also give to ourselves. So what we give out comes back. What we give out gets like a boomerang. We can pretend we're in Australia. And as we do that, we come to know that the joy of giving is the highest form of receiving. The joy of giving is the highest form of receiving, because it really is one action. You cannot fully give if there's no one there to receive, and you cannot fully receive if it's not given. It's one divine flow of action, giving and receiving. And in conscious spiritual community, a community of joy, one of the greatest things of all are the relationships that we build through conscious communion with one another. That sense of belonging to something greater than we are individually and all alone. We become that all one, caring and being cared for in a place that helps us to realize a sense of meaning and purpose and connection, true connection with one another. Richard Bach in the book Illusions wrote that the bond that links your true family is not one of blood, but of respect and joy in each other's lives. Rarely do members of one family grow up under the same roof. We have choices here. I used to say that to my brothers. I was adopted. And I used to say to my brothers, you know, they got stuck with you, but they chose me. And that's what we get to do in spiritual community. We get to choose the community and help to create it and take ownership of it. We're at choice. That's a powerful thing. And then finally, is there evidence of generosity here? Are the volunteers doing what needs doing? Is there follow-through on responsibilities and commitment? And are we stepping up to leadership opportunities when they are presented? Winston Churchill said that we make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give. You know, the good life is achieved not merely by obtaining valuables for oneself, but by serving others in valuable ways. Service is a high and holy spiritual practice, and it is the lifeblood of community. And just like money must circulate, so must our gifts and talents circulate in this community and beyond this community. Our presence and our participation are an integral part of the fabric of this spiritual community, bringing forth the best of our energies, our passions, and our caring. Starhawk. Listen to this very carefully, because see how it feels. Let your heart listen to this. Starhawk said that somewhere there are people to whom we speak without having the words catch in our throats. Somewhere a circle of hands will open to receive us. Eyes will light up as we enter. Voices will celebrate with us whenever we come into our power. Community means strength that joins our strength to do the work that needs to be done. Arms to hold us when we falter. A circle of healing, a circle of friends, someplace where we can be free. That gives me chills. Now that's spiritual community, my friends. That is it. And it takes a community to be that kind of community. Each of you, all of you, every single one of you is an integral piece of that fabric. So Center, or I always want to say Center for Spiritual Living. I'll get it right. By the time I leave here, I'll get this. Chico, New Thought Center for Spiritual Living. Say that with me now. Chico, New Thought Center for Spiritual Living. And maybe I'll get that now. It'll be firm in my brain. This can either be a church, a place where you go to church, kind of like, you know, I drive by on Sunday or I drive in on Sunday. And by the way, I got to tell you this like blew my mind. I live in Florida now, moved from Seattle to Florida. And I'm driving along and I see this, you remember, you're old enough to remember this. This is good. You remember drive-in theaters? Yeah, okay. So there's a drive-in theater. I'm going, oh my God. You know, we didn't have a lot of those in Seattle. What would be the point, right? But in Florida, you know, it's sunny. So here's a drive-in theater. I'm like, wow. You know, so I drove in to see what the next movie was because I thought, I'm going to go to a drive-in movie. Well, it turns out it's a drive-in church. Literally, people on their way to work, they stop in there for a little 10-minute inspiration. They put that little box, you know, in their window, just like we used to at the thing. And so drive-by church. Hey, you know, whatever. So this can either be where you drive by church, or this can be the spiritual community that you help to create that has something a little deeper than that little voice box in your window. You know, you can show up for services, or you can invest yourself in service and be and create community here. You know, this can be a place where you become known and where you know others. Kind of like that TV show, Cheers, where everybody knows your name, right? Minus the beer. At least on Sunday. It's a place where you can be celebrated for who you are and the gifts and the wisdom that you bring. And that kind of community that I've been describing and talking about has some requirements. It requires that you know who you have come here to be, and that your doingness arises out of that authentic beingness. And it requires that we identify our community core values and allow those to guide us and support us in all that we think, say, and do. And it requires that we catch Spirit's vision for this community and that we move it into action, that we don't just vision it, but we activate it. And so consider the kind of community that you value and that you want to continue to deepen and expand and create here at Chico, New Thought Center for Spiritual Living. And so I'm going to give you a suggestion of some possibilities of what that might entail. Spiritual community is a unified, dynamic whole that evolves as a group of people participate in common spiritual practices, serve and rely upon one another, make decisions and create together, identify themselves as a part of a common unity, and commit themselves for the long term to their own, one another's, and the group's spiritual deepening and well-being. Community comes from communion, common union, one heart and one mind, simply one. And it is symbolized by the interconnecting strands of a web of life. That was written by a philosopher that I sleep with every night, Reverend Suzi Schadle. You know, most of us want to have and to belong and to be connected in community. But to have and belong and connect, we must weave that community together ourselves. And are you willing? The question is, are you willing to not only want community, but more importantly, to create and evolve and to be community? Are you willing? Oh, yes. All right. Another shot of espresso, please. Are you willing? Yes. Yes! All right, that's what I'm looking for. And so ask yourself, who must I be? Who you must be is your most authentic self. And what must I do? I must do my beingness fully. Are you willing to move from contact into true connectedness? Yeah. In co-creation together and with Spirit, we reveal and we weave the perfect pattern of connectedness that is spiritual community. It is us. It is us. It's a finely woven fabric of interactions and intentions that holds us together in this web of life, that we are one. Chief Seattle, I'm from Seattle, so I got to include Seattle, right? Chief Seattle taught a very important thing. He said, all things are connected like the blood that unites us all. Man did not weave the web of life, he is merely a strand in it. Whatever he does to the web, he does to himself. One thing we know, there is only one God, and we are brothers after all. I guess he knew what our theme was this week, right? Yeah. Or this month. You know, the holidays are typically thought of as the season of love. And I'm not talking about that movie or love song type of love, you know, looking for love in all the wrong place. I'm not talking about that kind. My love left me. Yeah, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about love as a positive action verb, the pouring forth of our Christ nature in love with all of life. All of life. You know, the action and the sweep of that kind of agape love embraces everyone and everything all the time, every occasion. It knows no other. It only knows oneness because we are one. Meister Eckhart, who was a Christian mystic who was excommunicated by the Catholic Church, and right there, I'm like, all right. I'm not sure, but I think I might have been excommunicated by the Catholic Church. I'm not sure. Either that or I was a pope in a former life, one of the two. I have a pope hat, you know. I do have, yeah. Illusions of grandeur. Okay, back to Meister. Meister Eckhart reminds us that we are about this oneness and about love, this agape love that envelops all. He said, God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten child. And listen to this part. And God is forever begetting the only begotten in and as each and all of us eternally.
Say that again.
I will. God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten child. And God is forever begetting the only begotten in and as each and all of us eternally. We are the begotten. We are it. We are the essence of love. And it is that we bring to community. You know, our purpose here on earth, in my opinion, is to love. And the path that activates that purpose is to serve. And the promise that is the fulfillment of that purpose is to remember who you have come here to be, and to be that as fully as you possibly can. Be that. No one else can be you. And you can't be anyone else because that person's already taken. And I'd like to close today with a poem that I wrote about community. This is my spiritual home. It is composed of people like me and not like me. We make the community what it is, and it will be what we are. It will be friendly if I am. Its seats will be filled if I help fill them. It will do a great work if I do my work. It will invite other people home if I invite them. This will be a center of faith and limitless possibility of unity and love if I am. This will be a center where we experience and express spirit as love, service, and community that supports individual and global transformation if I embrace and embody these qualities of spirit. I want this to be a center of light that illuminates the path of people's purpose, leading them to the promise of love, truth, and joy. With the support of Father, Mother, God, Spirit, and my spiritual community, I dedicate myself to the call of being all of the qualities that I want my spiritual home to be, and it will be if I am. When we gather together in spiritual community, reach out to welcome everyone home. Someone is coming home today. It could be a friend. It might be a stranger. It really doesn't matter. Welcome them home. It takes a community to be a community. Blessings on your journey of being spiritual community. And may you begin by taking on Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King's challenge. He said, "Love is not the answer. Love is the assignment. Take it on." And so it is. Amen.